shipped in good. He's been good since the Florida Derby. He had to work down at Payson Park before he came up here, and then we plan on having a breeze tomorrow on Saturday, and then perhaps one the following Saturday if everything is good.
Familiar for him for here. Does that help at all?
Would help. Well, yeah. I mean, it gives us a little more confidence. You know what I mean? You'd feel terrible if he had been here and hadn't run well over the track. And some horses run better over this track than others. I mean, some take two. It looked like he accepted it and got over it very well when he ran here.
And when you look at who he beat in that race, the top three. Tiz Tastic wins the Louisiana Derby, Sandman wins the Arkansas Derby, even the fifth place finisher just was, second in the Lexington. You got to really feel good too about that.
Yeah, of course. You also, a lot of horses progress, from when he ran against them. Some of those other horses have probably moved forward since then, so they're probably different horses than they were when he beat them. Now, hopefully, he's progressed as well. But I think the exciting thing about the Kentucky Derby is these horses are all changing this time of year, so they move forward in huge steps sometimes this time of year.
Along those lines, Bill, the last three Derby winners have never won another race. Is this race getting more unpredictable?
I'm not gonna panic about that. I'm just worried about this one right now, but it's like the year they put Country House up. I mean, he ran a terrific race that day. He was second, and he was probably second best in the race, but they put him up because the other horse demolished half the field. But he moved way forward on that particular day. I mean, from his race in the Louisiana Derby or the Arkansas Derby, where he hit the board, but on Derby Day, he ran huge.
His Fountain of Youth, which he won, and then what was like watching the Florida Derby when he comes flying and just misses.
I mean, we were prepared for him to maybe not get there on Fountain of Youth Day because the Gulfstream tends to be a little bit of a speed favoring track, and the mile and a 16th down there, it's a short run to the wire. It's like Keeneland's wire that ends at the 16th pole, but he put in a huge run to get up and got there, and then he ran a comparable race really in the Florida Derby. I think the winner got first run on him around the turn, and he got within a length of him and was maybe slowly inching up on him, but it was still a very good race. I don't think it wasn't anything that diminished my confidence in him.
Can you speak to maybe how he was coming the last couple of furlongs in the Florida Derby and how that maybe gives you hope for the longer stretch here?
Well, he's been a deep closer, and been, so we always have the impression that those horses will go further. That's not always true. Sometimes they close well going a mile and an eighth, and then they don't close as well going a mile and a quarter. Now, I hope that's not the case with him. I hope he continues to be able to, maintain and sustain his run, but until they do it, they haven't proven it. But we're optimistic that if with it, I'm as optimistic, not knowing with him as I could have been with anything else we've ever brought.
Why is that?
Well, because of his style and his, apparent stamina. Look, they got to do it on the first Saturday in May.
How would you kind of rank your confidence level in him relative to your other 13 starts?
I feel very good about him. Over the years, I think I've come into the race with a little better horse and a little better horse and a little better horse. I mean, I think this, we have as good a chance this year as we probably ever had. I think the year we had Country House and Tacitus, I thought we had a good chance with both horses. And I would say this, I'm at least at the same level of confidence. But it's always such an interesting race and a very competitive race, and I just try to, take it all in like everybody else. I'm waiting to see what happens.
This race is considered the biggest race.
It is. Yeah, I think it's the most watched. I think because of the media attention that it gets, and I think that's what makes the race.
Yeah.
I think they've been able to maintain, a national audience and probably a worldwide audience, for the race. And it's look, for a casual observer, the only thing they know is, well, did you ever run one in the Kentucky Derby?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know any other racing exists sometimes. It's great to be part of it, and it's great to have a horse that's able to run in it and qualify to get in, and we're in a good position, having both.
Bill, trainers always say that over the years that they always ask you in an airport, do you train horses? And when you say yes, they ask you if you won the Derby. So, like, when somebody asks you if you've won the Derby, what do you say? Do you say
damn right I did.
Just talk a little bit about your relationship with Godolphin over the years.
It's been great. I trained for Sheikh Mohammed when most of the horses over here were running under the banner of Darley stud. They were maroon and white, and so I go back quite a ways with them. Actually, before they even ever started Godolphin stable, and I can tell you, they're a fantastic organization, and I think Sheikh Mohammed needs to be commended for all the lives that he's affected in a very positive way, throughout the industry, whether it be farms and sales and horse trainers and media, all of us. I think he's been probably one of the most influential people in the horse racing industry that I've could ever mention. And they've developed Godolphin has now developed a great stable in America, and they've done it, with a lot of homebreds. A lot of the fillies that they purchased over the years are producing, and they've had some great years as top breeders and top owners. And look, I'm just grateful to be a very small part of it, and a little piece of the team, and as most of us that work for them are very grateful.
Bill, have you handicapped the field much? Do you feel journalism is a worthy favorite, or have you even looked that far ahead?
I think there's some horses coming off of good races. He was awfully impressive in I thought his race before the Santa Anita Derby, and I thought Sandman looked good, and Sandman looked good here on the racetrack this morning. I thought he was, moving very well. I'm worried more about my own horse than anybody else's, but I am interested always to see him, during the training session in the morning, who's doing what, how they're moving, how they behave, and what they look like, so we can learn for the future.
So the ones you've seen, Sandman maybe has stood out to you?
He looked great on the track this morning. I thought he looked good. I saw Brendan Walsh's horse at East Avenue. I mean, he showed up last time. He ran a very game race. I think he looks good. Of course, he's a counterpart to our horse, being a Godolphin horse. But he looked good on the track this morning, and you never know, a horse like that could come back and show up big on the day.
Another Godolphin question. For many years, Sheikh Mohammed really wanted to win the Derby from Dubai to show you could do it. I think starting with when they paid, $5 million for Worldly Manor. Obviously, they switched directions and decided to really emphasize the American stable and let's just win the Derby.
I think they're emphasizing the American stable and the American breeding operation. They've got some good stallions of their own, and they breed mares to outside stallions as well. But they've, I think their game is really, it's obviously really stepped up in the last 4 or 5 years. I'd say just the number of Eclipse awards that they've won, and number champions and that sort of thing that they've developed.
And again, with homebreds, not just spending $1 million and $2 million on this horse and that. I mean, they
Right, but a lot of the mares that are producing those horses were high dollar mares, but they've even if they didn't do it on the racetrack, now they're producing for them, and they do a good job of keeping the best and breeding to the best.
Does it give you any extra motivation trying to get them their first Kentucky Derby win?
Look, it'd be a feather in my cap to be the first one. I mean, I take a lot of pride in training for them, and even take a lot of pride in the fact that when they developed Godolphin and the racing in Dubai, we were the first winners of the Dubai World Cup with Cigar. So it's we got to go back with them on a lot of different levels, but I'd be very excited to win that for Sheikh Mohammed and his team.